Hello dear soul, welcome in. Thank you for joining me. You know the last video I said there are so many modalities and it confuses me and I don't like anxiety. So I just did everything my way by questioning divine source, God, whatever we call it, whoever we believe in. I questioned the higher power that I believe in to show me a way that I can feel comfortable in going through this journey after I realized that what the time I was in was not okay for me. So I learned quite a few things that helped me thus far, but I am still so willing to learn and I just want some more, some more. So then maybe if I if I put out my first ingredient and then somebody else will give me something else to spice it up. You know when you make food and you add your own little thing in it. It's basically what why I'm doing this. So my first video was definitely a leap of faith. I had no idea um, what I was. I knew what I was going to talk about, but I had no idea of the technology and how I'm supposed to do. So that video was off the fly. This one, I have some notes. Yippee! So we can't get confused because that one I winged. Now, to me, patience, according to the dictionary, says is wait on being basically calm while waiting on some expectation or promise or somebody to change. It is basically being calm and accepting the time frame is not mine. So today my topic is my patience. You will notice that all it is about me, it's about nobody else and things that I've learned. So did I have the ability to tolerate delays before? Some cases, yes, I guess for those that we love, we do. But for those that we have no relationship with and just a passing situation, I suppose no, I didn't. I have to be honest. Um, it made me thought of Mario Brothers, a game which I sucked at, I'm telling you. I never had the patience. If I fell off the first level, I didn't even attempt the second level. So it made me think of that when I started my journey. It's like my little bit of overcoming one thing at a time, one step at a time, not to get overwhelmed on this journey that I will possibly give up because it is so precious to me when I found my peace and I embraced the peace that I found with the love that I gave myself. And like I told you, I come from a Christian background, so my resource of inquiry will naturally go to the Bible because that was my first introduction to God, to the divine greater than myself. The only thing it didn't teach me how to interact with God except praying, but it never told me I can meditate and God can talk to me. It was always something in my physical environment I had to prove that God was doing things for me. And I realized it is not just about the physical assistance God gives us. There is an inner overcoming that I have to stop being in that space of needing physical confirmation that God has got my back, basically. And I always loved the song I Am a Child of the Universe. Always, ever since I was a kid. And it never resonated that much with me. It was just a sing along thing, talk along, you could get all the words out and stuff like that. So about 4 years ago, I played this song constantly. And I started thinking, I'm a child of the universe. Let me have a look at the universe and see the universe for what it is. Let me see Mother Gaia. Let me see the earth. Let me see the interaction of everything that is there. So, and I thought, I didn't realize it then, but I probably did in my subconscious, that when the seed is planted, it takes time to grow. That's patience. So the universe has a lot of patience. And if I'm a child of the universe, then I should embody that patience. So if you're anything like me, I don't know. I don't do cognitive bias to go and look for something to confirm and justify why I do things. I generally do things, and when it works, I thereafter investigate, which yes, I could get answers which confirms it, but it's all about, has it changed me? Am I a better version of myself than what I was yesterday? Am I more free than yesterday? Am I willing to go and play outside and dance in the rain and blow bubbles and don't care what anybody thinks of me? Yes, I am. Before I didn't do that, I was too, oh my goodness, what are they going to say about me? They're too worried about what society thinks of you. So as Mario Brothers, it gives you patience. And I thought of all the people in my life, your employer, your colleagues, your family, your siblings, your neighbors, your parish, even the cashier at the counter. All those people are all unique. They're not me. And when they are not grasping something the way I grasp it, it is not for me to be judgmental about it. It is for me to step back and allow them to do what they need to do in their own time and at their own pace, because some of us need, um, how can I say, a very bad situation, a heart-rending situation, a very fearful situation to make us have to start looking hard, because I believe the divine does not scream. The divine speaks softly like a parent to a child. Our circumstances are the ones that are screaming at us. Yet, when we don't achieve what we put out there, we tend to go harder at it. We force ourselves, we find alternative options, and then eventually we suffer from burnout, or we have to take sick leave and things like that. Because that is because we don't have patience with ourselves. Now, here's my take on it. The patience that we so lovingly give to others once we get to a certain point in our lives after we start this journey. We give it so lovingly to others, but yet we still don't give it to ourselves. And why are we so harsh on ourselves? I mean, we have so much every day, and we want to force things to happen. If it doesn't happen now, I'm in a state of depression. And did I fail in my life? Of course I did. But today I saw my failures as, my phone is actually moving in the holder. Today I see my failures as my creation for the foundation I have today. Let's go back again. Today I see my failures as a creation of my foundation that I have today. Huh, I never thought of it that way before, but it works for me, which means I cannot be upset about what happened then. I can now embrace what happened then and look at it from a different perspective, from a better understanding. So I started with myself. I said, if you can see that, then it means you have to be patient with this new journey that you're on. And everything doesn't happen at once. Yes, you don't want to disappoint God, but God has been patient with me all along. And I've made so many mistakes. My materials at the time were too enabling. Um, my nature, let me say, my nature was too enabling, too much patience, too much we we don't understand that too much of our virtues can become destructive to ourselves and to others. And that is something I had to learn because I really gave too much to a point of literally almost dying. My body was exhausted, my mind shut down, and all because I had to. And then I gave myself the patience to change and accept I can do it differently for myself. So I now internalize the patience, and the outcomes are required in the reflection. And going to the Bible, in the English language is an idiom that says, patience like Job. And I went to Job and I read the whole section, not just that portion of Job's patience. I refer to my first video again. We make a choice, we action the choice, and then we have an outcome. So everything I said before about my virtues were choices that I did to be, and it all had outcomes, but not favorable outcomes to me in my emotions and my feelings and just the way that I was lost. I think I was lost, but oh boy, now I'm found. So when I reserve the obligation to self-manifestation, the obligation to be patient towards others, I reverse that to self-manifestation as as a being of peace now, and all I need to do is now internalize the patience with myself on this journey of overcoming. In this moment, I am a collective energy of I was and who I am becoming. So let me just say that again. At this moment, I am a collective energy of who I was and who I'm becoming. So to be patient with myself, like we were with others, everyone in our lives, has now become a necessity for me. So I want to relay the story of Job. Sorry, Job was one of God's most favored persons. God blessed him with everything in the material world, in the spiritual world, in the family dynamic. I think he had three beautiful children. He had a loving wife, caring. He had um, loyal employees. He had farmlands. He had animals. He had businesses. At any case, he had everything that his heart could desire to have a calm and peaceful life. Then his children grew up. Um, yeah, they grow up and they become another human being. DNA wise, biologically, they still our children. But when it comes to evolving, they become another human being with a mind of their own, not vulnerable anymore. Where, as a parent, you take care of them because they can't do it for themselves. The parenting part that we've always done, I had to decide where does it stop. So and I realized the cue from Job was when his children were now adults, got married. The first one bought a house, and then the other two went to go and party, housewarming party, like we do nowadays, housewarming party. Bring the joy and the blessings into the home. And I think it was before the Sabbath, and Job heard the the music and the laughter, and they were probably drinking. And all he thought, the mind prison, that they were blaspheming God because they were now in joy and they were happy and they were drinking. And the next day he went to the temple and he started praying for his children. And he prayed and he offered and he burnt offerings and he prayed I, for a while, probably a week. 7 days is a long time. I could be wrong, could be more or less, but the point is, so for, let's example, use the word seven, the number 7 days. So for 7 days, his mind, his consciousness was not in gratitude for his blessings because he was not in the fields, he was not tending to his crop, he was not tending to his employees, he was not tending to his wife. He was in the temple praying for his children, who he has no idea where their thoughts were at the time of the celebration. They could have been talking of how God blessed them and how grateful they were, and now they were being joyful and they were celebrating the joy in what the divine gave them. But as the parent that is so spiritual and doesn't want to disappoint God, his mind, his conscious awareness of God and his blessings that he had to take care of was put to the back. So if it's put to the back, his eyes are not there. His presence is not with his blessings. And the good people that he has, he wasn't honoring them any longer, which means he can't see what is going on. And then the attacks happened. The attackers ruined his crops. They burnt his house down. They killed his children. Everything happened while he was in this state of intercession for his children. Now, the choice he made was from the perception that they were blaspheming God. And he forgot that the parenting part was not his responsibility anymore because as an adult they were responsible for their own soul. So with him not being present in his own life, because the 7 days he wasn't present in his own life, everything broke down. So when everything broke down and it came to the last where they killed his family and the news was brought, he didn't even change when the workers came to tell him that they were attacking the farms and they were killing the cattle and the sheep. He didn't. He was so obsessed with his children's life of faith. And the choice to intercede on behalf of his children and neglect what his blessings were brought about the destruction of his material life. And in that time, he now sat with nothing, and they called him sitting on the heap of ash. My take on it is he had to he had to get to patience, but it started with a choice to not be present in his own spiritual life and his blessings, to lose everything. And because of his faith, he knew that as long as he held on to faith, God will restore him. And God did. God gave him. The lesson was so huge that when his restoration came, it was far greater and far more um, satisfying to him. And that is was after his foundation broke down. But his foundation broke down because of the choice that he made. And that was a period of his life that was done. So, what lesson did Job learn? He took accountability for his choice because he said, I will not sell my soul. He was in his conscious awareness not present within his soul anymore, but he never sold his soul because he used the love of his soul to pray for his children. And when he sat in that patience and that faith that God will restore his life again, he learned my perception, my understanding. He learned that to become new, to break down the old belief, the old way of doing things as a parent changed because he had to cut off being a parent You don't cut off being a father. You don't cut off being a mother. Parenting is a form of control. And with him having interceded on behalf of his children's soul was not his responsibility. His children's relationship with the divine was not his responsibility. Yes, you can pray for them, but not at the expense of your own relationship with the divine. People will say, but he prayed, he still had a relationship. But what was his prayer about? Because there's a balance in life. God will bless me. I've got to take care of the blessing. If I disperse the blessing willy-nilly, God will say, but you have no gratitude for my blessing. I can say thank you, but I'm just dispersing it willy-nilly to people that don't appreciate it. So now the next time when I'm in a slump and the blessing has to come, it takes a little bit longer, and it's not as big as what it was before, until I had to understand that for my small blessing, I had to be able to say, it is enough for me. Until I am blessed more abundantly, I can share. I'm going to make a simple example. Somebody knocked on my door. I would give the last food I had in my house to that person because I was taught, love thy neighbor as thyself. Which means my neighbor was more important than what I was. I had enough food for my kids, but there was not enough food for me. So when I get ill of not having enough nourishment, what am I going to have a testimony about? Because to bring testimony is to overcome a weakness, which is one of the virtues that I had of always giving. I had to overcome that and use my discernment to say, if I give this away and I have no idea, yes, I can have faith that tomorrow God will take care of me. But God will take care of me because I'm taking care of myself. And today, oh my, because I'm taking care of myself, God takes care of me. And I can share the overcoming because I've got something to share, because I'm overflowing. This is now becoming from the physical to the spiritual because I'm taking care of my body, I'm taking care of my rest, I'm taking care of myself and not everybody else. Which means I had to use my discernment where my virtues were concerned. God didn't punish me because I did myself first, and now I'm doing everybody else thereafter. So even in the physical, likewise in the spiritual, I did not give testimony of my overcoming, my virtues, which the the dark side of my virtues. I never testified about it because I just started living it. And how can I, what more proof did I need when people said, what happened to you? Oh my goodness, you're not aging. You look so good, you look so healthy, you're radiant. Oh, I still don't have a 6-digit banking account. I still don't have a fridge overflowing with food. I still don't have, remember I had all this and I gave it away. I still don't have a cupboard where I can just go and take out what I want whenever I want. Oh, I have enough for me to take out whenever I want, but it's not overflowing. And I was blessed like Job was blessed, and I did not distribute my blessings with discernment to take care of myself first and then give to those that will appreciate it and deserve it. They say it's judgment. How can I say who deserves and who doesn't? Yes, I can. If I see they are going to take something and then they are going to sell it for money for drugs, then I'm not going to give it to them. Is that a form of judgment? If it is, It is according my blessing that I'm not going to have abused or misused. And that is where patience brought me to, was to be able to see me in a relation to all those that I gave patience to and what the difference it does in my life to have patience for myself. And it is amazing. It is so amazing. But I'm going to leave it there. I say thank you for watching. Thank you for sharing your energy and your time with me for these few minutes, which is so precious to me. And I love you for that. I do appreciate it. I'm not worried about algorithms and those things. I'm just sharing. And if it in any way helps another one person, then my testimony is valid. It's worth it. It's it's what the Almighty wanted me to do, and I'm doing it. And this is the best way that I thought of. I do it with people around me. I do it with my family. And remember, I was cloaked. Nobody saw the change that was going through. They only saw the aftermath. They never saw the process. So they look at me as if I'm an alien, which I probably am to them, I suppose. Because if you never saw somebody before, how can you recognize them when you see the other part of it? But in any case, this is what self-love does. This is what peace does. This is what embracing who I have become. And I am proud of myself. All the proudness that I gave everybody else, I am so proud of myself and I do appreciate myself. And it is the best feeling ever. And it can last for the longest moments of a day, in the most moments of a day. And all I can impart with you is be patient with yourself on this journey. Don't be hard on yourself because love is calmness and patience and trust yourself. You wouldn't have had the first thought of this is not okay. This feeling is not okay. And the feeling is what brings about the desire to feel differently and then make a choice. Take one step. And the rest will happen all with the assistance of the Almighty. Just like the days that you were down deep in your darkness and you decided to get up. You didn't lift yourself up. God lifted you. And He will keep on doing it again. Where it feels like I can't do this anymore. It is so worth it. I wish you peace, joy, love, blessings, courage, and strength on your journey. And patience, 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 patience. Be kind to yourself. Because you are the most important thing to you. Not thing, person. Because if nobody else valued your importance, value it for you. Thank you for watching. See you somewhere else soon. Bye.